In 1997, a researcher at Stony Brook published a finding that gets cited for one thing and ignored for another. The cited part. 15 to 20% of adults are highly sensitive to sensory and emotional stimuli. The ignored part? The same group reported significantly higher comfort around animals than around humans. Not slightly higher, significantly. The study noted it. The internet skipped it. Because the internet had a better story. People who love non-human companions are just deeper, more connected, more real. That story has 282,000 views on one channel alone, and it's the wrong frame for the right observation. Here's the thing about what actually happens in the presence of a non-human creature. The nervous system changes. Specifically, a system that runs constantly in human social space and drains energy doing it, shuts off. That system has a name. Irving Goffman called it impression management in 1959. Every human interaction, from a job interview to a conversation with a neighbor, activates a monitoring process. How am I being perceived? Is this landing? Should I adjust? The process is automatic. Most people don't notice it, but the energy cost is real, especially for people whose monitoring system runs louder than average. Karen Allen at the University at Buffalo designed an elegant experiment. Participants performed a stressful cognitive task, timed arithmetic under observation. 3 conditions: alone, with a friend present, with a pet present. Heart rate, blood pressure, cortisol, all measured. The finding was specific and counterintuitive. The friend condition produced the highest stress response, higher than being alone. The pet condition produced the lowest. Not because friends are stressful in themselves, because the presence of a person who matters activates the monitoring system. The presence of an animal doesn't. The arithmetic was the same. The audience changed. And with the audience, the entire physiological profile shifted. And that's only the surface of what the research reveals. Sigal Zilchamano at the University of Haifa studied the relationship between attachment style and attachment to pets across multiple studies. The pattern was consistent. People with insecure attachment to humans, avoidant, anxious, or disorganized, formed significantly stronger bonds with animals. Not because they loved animals more, because the animal relationship lacked the specific element that makes human attachment feel unsafe: the possibility of being evaluated, rejected, or misunderstood based on something performed rather than something real. A cat doesn't care about the version of a person that shows up, doesn't register whether the joke was funny, doesn't notice that the text took 4 hours to compose, doesn't have an opinion about whether the silence after the question was awkward or profound. The animal responds to presence, not performance. And for someone whose entire social life runs through a filter of underscore, underscore, quote, underscore, zero, underscore, underscore, the absence of that filter isn't just pleasant. It's the only place the nervous system fully stands down. Andrea Beetz at the University of Rostock reviewed decades of human-animal interaction research and found that oxytocin, the neurochemical associated with bonding and trust, releases in both humans and animals during calm physical contact. Stroking a dog, sitting with a cat. The release happens reliably and without the conditions that typically gate oxytocin in human interaction: reciprocity, vulnerability, risk. With animals, the bonding chemistry arrives without the social cost. The warmth doesn't require courage. But here's where the frame shifts, because quote one can mean 2 things, and only one of them is a preference. For some people, it's exactly what it sounds like: a genuine affinity for non-human connection. A person who loves horses or works with rescue dogs or finds peace in a quiet apartment with a cat and also has human relationships that function. The preference for non-human company sits alongside human connection, not instead of it. That's real. That's temperament. No reframe needed. For others, the preference is a signal. The pet relationship isn't chosen over human connection. It's chosen because human connection activates something that the non-human bond specifically avoids. Not discomfort in general, a particular kind of discomfort. The kind that arrives when a person is seen by another person and doesn't know whether what's being seen is acceptable. There was a woman, late 20s, worked from home, 2 cats, a small circle that she described as enough. Her weekends had a pattern. She'd cancel plans with friends and spend the evening on the couch with the cats. Not unhappy, not lonely, at least not in the way she'd describe it. But when she tracked the feeling that arrived just before each cancellation, it wasn't relief she was chasing. It was the absence of the monitoring. The apartment with the cats was the only space where she didn't have to manage how she appeared. The cats didn't need aversion. They needed a lap. That's not a preference for animals. That's an allergy to being watched. And the distinction matters because the internet's framing, people who prefer creatures over humans are deeper, more real, turns a coping mechanism into an identity. The same pattern that runs through every video on this channel. A real experience, given a flattering name, celebrated until nobody examines what's underneath. The reframe isn't stop loving animals. Animals are honest mirrors. The connection is real. The oxytocin is real. The peace is real. The reframe is noticing what the peace is made of. If it's made of genuine preference, the person would feel equally calm sitting in silence with a trusted human. If it's made of the absence of monitoring, that calm exists only because no other consciousness is evaluating. And that's not peace. That's a specific kind of hiding that happens to purr. Next, something this audience does with a phrase so often it's become invisible. 2 days.